my life, take my mind, take my soul, take my will. 'Cause I am yours, yeah. I give it all to you. So take my life, take my mind, take my soul, take my will. 'Cause I am yours, yeah. I give it all to you. Laying on down before my king, offering all my everything. Laying all down before the one I serve. But I can understand the reasons why you came on this earth and died.
How you guys doing today? Jason A. Kuhn here, giving you a Fight the Deception with Christian Perception news brief for April 2nd, 2014. We got a lot of news today with a little time. We'll jump into it here at truthrevolt.org. Pelosi, our founders, wanted Obamacare. In a press conference outside the White House West Wing, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi once again lauded Obamacare as something our founding fathers intended 200 plus years ago. She stated, quote, "It is really so heartwarming for those of us who worked so hard to make sure many people in our country would have access to health care. There are those who are critics, and there have been bumps in the road, but they've only been turbulence. They have not been an obstacle to the American people having the healthier life that our founders wanted for them. Life, a healthier life, liberty, and the freedom to pursue their happiness, not to be job locked, but having benefits at having healthcare policies that are portable. They could be self-employed, be a photographer, they could start their own business, they could change jobs, they could reach their aspirations. Isn't that a wonderful thing for a society and for an economy," unquote. Back in January, when Nancy Pelosi made an appearance on Jon Stewart's The Daily Show, she was asked why the Democrats did such a poor job implementing Obamacare. She responded with a befuddled, quote, "I don't know," unquote. When asked if she had any plans to fix the problem, she stated, quote, "It's not my responsibility," unquote. Move on here to the end of the AmericanDream.com. The Chinese are acquiring large chunks of land in communities all over America. Has the United States ever experienced a time when a foreign nation has attempted to buy up so much of our land all at once? As you will read about in this article, the Chinese are on a real estate buying spree all over America. In fact, in some cases, large chunks of land are actually being given to them. Yes, you read that correctly. China is on a way to becoming the dominant landowner in the entire country, and that is starting to alarm a lot of people. Do we really want a foreign superpower to physically own so much of our territory? There are some that are playing down this threat by making a distinction between the Chinese government and Chinese corporations, but things work differently over in China than they do here. In China, the government is involved in everything. In fact, 43% of all corporate profits in China are produced by companies that the Chinese government controls. And all the rest of the companies are very careful to follow the lead and direction of the Chinese government. That is why what is going on in places such as Thomasville, Alabama is so alarming. Small communities such as Thomasville are so starved for jobs that they are willing to give land away for free to Chinese companies in order to entice them to build factories. Governor Robert Bentley said Friday that he will announce an economic development project in Thomas, Alabama, Monday morning. That project is likely a copper tube plant to be built in Golden Dragon Precise Copper Tube Group. A legal notice published Thursday indicates that the city of Thomasville and others intend to give land and other incentives to GD Copper USA, which State Corporation records identify as a Florida-based subsidiary of Golden Dragon. Let's move on here to news.yahoo.com. Apocalyptic prophecies drive both sides to Syrian battle for end of time. Conflict in Syria kills hundreds of thousands of people and spreads unrest across the Middle East. Iranian forces battle anti-Shiite fighters in Damascus, and the region braces for an ultimate showdown. If the scenario sounds familiar to an anxious world watching Syria's devastating civil war, it resonates even more with Sunni and Shiite fighters on the front lines who believe it was all foretold in 7th century prophecies. From the first outbreak of the crisis in the southern city of Daraa to apocalyptic forecasts of the Middle East soaked in blood, many combatants on both sides of the conflict say its path was set 1400 years ago in the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad and his followers. Among those many thousands of sayings, or hadith, are accounts which refer to the confrontation of two huge Islamic armies in Syria, a great battle near Damascus, and an intervention from the north and west of the country. The power of those prophecies for many fighters on both or on the ground means that 3-year-old conflict is more deeply rooted and far tougher to resolve than a simple power struggle between President Bashar al-Assad and his rebel foes. Move on to hosted.ap.org. Venezuela issues ID cards to curtail food hoarding. Battling food shortages, the government is rolling out a new ID system that is either a grocery loyalty card with extra muscle or the most dramatic step yet toward rationing in Venezuela, depending on who is describing it. President Nicolas Maduro's administration says the cards to track families' purchases will foil people who stock up on groceries at subsidized prices and then illegally resell them for several times the amount. Critics say it's another sign the oil-rich Venezuelan economy is headed toward Cuba-style dysfunction. Registration began Tuesday at more than 100 government-run supermarkets across the country. Working-class shoppers who sometimes endure long-hour lines at government-run stores to buy groceries at steeply reduced prices are welcoming the plan. Can you say coming to America soon to a neighborhood and city near you? Let's move on here to Infowars.com. Wearable tech, the surveillance grid of the future. Edward Snowden's now infamous NSA leaks have sparked intense debate across the world. The leaks confirm what many already know. The NSA is listening to our phone calls, monitoring social networks, and more. This is only the beginning of an Orwellian Minority Report future. In the near future, consumers will be adorning themselves with wearable technology that will weave an incredibly detailed picture of their lives. A cloud of information will float around with you with details on sleep habits, what you ate for breakfast, who you are meeting for dinner, your heart rate, and much more. Insurance companies will likely harvest this data to adjust your rates. Governments will undoubtedly hack into this cloud of personal data to track down dissidents. Marketers will have access to a goldmine of personalized information that will be used to market products. These wearables are sold to the public as means of making life easier, which they undoubtedly will, with that convenience there will be a price to pay in privacy. Let's move on here to news.discovery.com. Powerful solar flare causes radio blackout. Wow. On Saturday, the sun erupted with an X-class solar flare blasting Earth with powerful electromagnetic radiation. Although we couldn't directly feel its effects on the ground, the impact of this event was measured as a dramatic radio blackout for several minutes, highlighting the fact that the sun isn't quite done with solar maximum yet. We'll move on to the last article of the day. This is at SHTFplan.com. Claim, we found the Holy Grail, the cup which touched the lips of Jesus Christ. It was shared with disciples at the Last Supper, and just days later, St. Joseph of Arimathea used it to collect the blood and sweat of Jesus Christ, as his granduncle tended him on the cross. When he was subsequently imprisoned in a tomb for several years, Joseph reportedly sustained his life with its power by consuming fresh water and food from it until his release. At that point, it was reportedly transferred to a spectacular castle in a region called Corbinic, somewhere in modern-day England. The location of the castle itself has been veiled in secrecy and purportedly lost to history. But the legendary story didn't stop there. The Knights Templar searched Europe and Arabia for it, as did the Nazis during the middle of the 20th century. Historians and treasure hunters the world over have spent centuries looking for the cup of life, and today some 200 chalices lay claim to the title of the Holy Grail. But according to the new book titled Kings of the Grail, two researchers claim they have conclusive evidence that they have found the one and only true Holy Grail of Scripture. After a 3-year quest involving analysis from ancient documents, starting with an Egyptian parchment that describes the Grail in detail, authors Margarita Torres and Jose Manuel Ortega del Rio say there is absolutely, quote, no doubt, unquote, that the cup which touched the lips of Jesus Christ has been identified. That's all the articles I got for you guys today. I don't want to leave you without the New World Order quote of the day, quote, to achieve world government, it is necessary to remove from the minds of men their individualism, loyalty to family traditions, national patriotism, and religious dogmas, unquote. That's from Brock Adams, Director of UN Health Organization. I don't want to leave you without the proverb of the day, Proverbs 8:5, King James only. O ye simple, understand wisdom, and ye fools, be ye of an understanding heart. It's all the articles, news, and quotes I got for you today. I'll leave you guys off with the song I brought you in on. This is by Jeremy Camp, Take My Life.
Give it all to you. So take my life, take my mind, take my soul, take my will. 'Cause I am yours.